Welcome to our deep dive into the Rigveda.
I gotta say, looking at the material you sent over, I'm already fascinated. We're talking about texts from like 1500 BCE,
Wow.
older than the pyramids. It's kind of hard to grasp just how long these stories have been around?
Yeah, and what really gets me is that the Rigveda wasn't written down at first. It was passed down, orally memorized, and chanted for generations.
Can you imagine?
You know,
Well,
it really makes you think about how central these hymns must have been to their whole culture.
for sure. So before we get totally lost in the ancient world, maybe we should break down what the Rig Veda actually is, because honestly, it sounds a little intimidating.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the name itself is a good place to start. I think Rig means praise,
Okay.
and Veda means knowledge.
Got it.
So it's basically like a collection of hymns praising all sorts of gods and goddesses, forces of nature, that kind of thing. And it's the oldest of the four Vedas, which are like the foundation of Hinduism.
So we're talking about one of the world's major religions.
Yeah, one of the world's major religions.
Sure.
Wow, so we're talking about the cornerstone of a belief system that literally millions still follow today.
Exactly.
That's a pretty incredible legacy for just a collection of poems.
It really is. And it's not just random hymns either. The Rig Veda is incredibly structured.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's divided into 10 books called mandalas.
Oh,
Each one often focuses on a specific theme or set of deities, and then inside those mandalas are individual hymns called suktas, all written in a specific meter that was meant to be chanted during rituals.
so there's like a method to the madness.
Yeah,
There's another layer of meaning kind of behind the arrangement itself.
absolutely.
That's so cool. But can we talk about the language for a second? I mean, we're talking 1500 BCE. Was English even like a thing back then?
Not quite. The
Uh,
Rigveda is written in Vedic Sanskrit, which is even older than what we think of as classical Sanskrit. And what's amazing is that like a single verse can have multiple layers of meaning.
Oh, wow.
So for example, a line might describe a ritual sacrifice on a literal level, but it's also speaking to the individual's spiritual journey
Okay.
or the cosmic order as a whole.
That's mind-blowing. It's like poetry on steroids or something.
Yeah.
But how on earth did they preserve such a complex text without even writing it down? Were these people just walking dictionaries?
It's really a testament to human memory and dedication. The Vedic priests developed these incredibly precise techniques for memorizing and transmitting these hymns word for word.
Wow.
And they did this for centuries.
Mhm.
Imagine that responsibility. An entire culture's knowledge is resting on your shoulders.
Oh my gosh, that gives me performance anxiety just thinking about it. And to think that even today there are people who can recite the entire Rig Veda from memory.
It's incredible.
It really makes you realize the power of oral tradition.
Yeah, it's a living link to the past. It's this unbroken chain that connects us to these ancient voices. But it's not just about preserving the words.
Right.
It's about understanding the worldview, the beliefs, the hopes and fears of a civilization that's thousands of years removed from our own.
Okay, I'm officially in awe. But let's get to the heart of it. What kinds of things does the Rig Veda actually talk about? Is it all just hymns and rituals, or is there more to it? It feels like we've just scratched the surface here, and I'm already picking up on like a depth to the Rig Veda that goes way beyond, just
Right.
religion.
Oh, yeah.
What else can you tell us about the kinds of topics it covers?
You're right. It's so much more than just like religious doctrine. The Rig Veda touches on cosmology, the origins of the universe, societal structures, even morality.
Right.
It's really a reflection of how these people saw the world and their place in it.
It's like their own unique philosophy woven into these beautiful hymns. Can you give us some examples? Like, what are some of the recurring ideas or themes that pop up?
Well, one of the most famous hymns is the Nasadiya Sukta. It's also known as the Creation Hymn.
Okay.
And it grapples with these questions about existence that I think still resonate with us today.
Like what?
Questions like, how did the universe come to be? Was there even a beginning? Was there like a void, or was there something else?
That's incredible.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they were already pondering like the big questions about creation thousands of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I can totally see why you say it's a text that still speaks to us today.
And what's so fascinating about the Nasadiya Sukta is that it doesn't like offer any easy answers.
Right.
Instead, it embraces the mystery and wonder of creation.
Mhm.
It's almost as if the hymn itself is like a journey of discovery,
Yeah.
a reflection of that human desire to understand the forces that shape our existence.
That's beautiful. It reminds me that even with all of our technological advancements, we're still asking those same fundamental questions about where we come from and why we're here. But what about the deities themselves? We've talked about how they're praised in these hymns, but what can you tell us about their specific roles and significance?
Yeah, the Rig Veda features this whole pantheon of gods and goddesses, each one representing, different aspects of nature, the cosmos, the human experience. And their stories are woven throughout the hymns, offering insights into the Vedic worldview.
It's like their own mythology, but with a depth that connects to their everyday lives and the world around them.
Exactly.
Can you introduce us to some of the key players? Like, who are the stars of the Rigvedic show, so to speak?
Well, we can start with like the big three, Indra, Agni, and Varuna. These deities are mentioned the most frequently, and their stories offer a glimpse into, I think, the core values and beliefs of the Vedic people.
Okay, I'm ready to meet the Vedic A-list.
Mhm.
Let's start with Indra. What's his claim to fame?
Indra is the god of thunder, war, and strength. He's often depicted as like a powerful warrior who wields a thunderbolt called the Vajra,
Okay.
battling chaos and darkness. You might say he embodies the raw power of nature, but he's also a protector, a force for good in the cosmic battle against evil.
But he's like the ultimate warrior,
Hmm.
fighting for justice and order in the universe.
Exactly.
I can see why he would be a popular deity. What are some of the stories associated with him?
One of the most famous myths involves Indra slaying a dragon named Vritra, who was holding back the cosmic waters. This victory symbolizes the release of life-giving forces, the triumph of good over evil, and the restoration of cosmic order.
That's a powerful image. It's amazing how these ancient stories can still resonate with us today. It makes you think about those times in your own life when you've had to overcome obstacles or fight for something you believe in.
Exactly. These myths weren't just entertainment, they were a way to understand the forces at play in the world, both internal and external. And Indra, with his strength and courage, embodies that fight for balance and harmony.
Okay, that's interesting. What about Agni? What makes him stand out?
Agni is the god of fire. He's associated with the sacrificial fire that was central to Vedic rituals.
Right.
He's seen as a messenger between the gods and humans, carrying offerings from the earthly realm to the heavens.
So he's like the link between the human and the divine.
Mm.
And fire itself must have held a deep significance for them, beyond just its practical uses.
Absolutely. Fire represented transformation, purification, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Imagine, like, sitting around a fire, watching the flames flicker and dance, and contemplating those same cycles in your own life. It's a powerful image that transcends time and culture.
It makes you realize how connected they were to the elements, how they saw the divine in every aspect of nature. Okay, two down, one to go. What can you tell us about Varuna?
Varuna is a fascinating deity. He's the god of cosmic order, truth, and justice. He's often depicted as like a watchful, all-seeing presence who maintains the balance of the universe.
Okay.
He's the guardian of oaths and contracts, and he punishes those who break their word or act unjustly.
So he's like the ultimate judge, making sure everyone plays by the rules.
Mhm.
But unlike Indra, who's this warrior, Varuna seems to represent a more like introspective philosophical side of divinity.
That's a great observation. There's one hymn dedicated to Varuna that I find particularly moving. It's a prayer for forgiveness where the speaker acknowledges their transgressions and seeks Varuna's mercy. It's a beautiful expression of human vulnerability and the desire for reconciliation, not just with a god, but with the very concept of truth and righteousness.
It's amazing to think that people were grappling with these ideas of guilt, forgiveness, and moral responsibility thousands of years ago. It shows that the Rigveda isn't just about abstract concepts.
Right.
It's also about the human struggle to live a good and meaningful life.
You're absolutely right. And it's through these stories about the gods and their interactions with humans that the Rigveda explores those deeper questions about what it means to be alive, to make choices, and to face the consequences of those choices.
It feels like we're just scratching the surface of what the Rigveda has to offer. We've talked about these three powerful gods, Agni and Varuna, and how they embody different aspects of the Vedic worldview. But with over 1,000 hymns, there must be so much more to discover.
There is, and what's even more intriguing is how these ancient hymns can still resonate with us today, offering timeless wisdom and insights into the human experience. But we'll delve deeper into that in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay, we're back for the final part of our Rigveda deep dive. This has been way more engaging than I expected. We've uncovered the structure, explored the stories of these deities, even pondered the origins of the universe, all through this ancient text. But now for the question that's probably on everyone's mind.
Yeah.
What does this all mean for us today? Like, how does a collection of hymns from 1500 BCE connect to our modern lives?
That's the real magic of the Rigveda, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just an ancient artifact. It's a living text that continues to influence Indian culture and thought to this day. And even if you don't have a direct connection to India, I think the Rigveda offers something really valuable, a glimpse into the human condition that transcends time and place.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does a text this old still hold relevance in like the 21st century? Help me bridge that gap.
Well, think about it this way. The hymns of the Rigveda were composed by people who were just as curious about the world as we are today.
Yeah.
They were searching for meaning, grappling with the mysteries of life and death, and trying to understand their place in the grand scheme of things.
So it's like we're peering over their shoulders,
Yeah.
getting a glimpse into how they saw the world, their hopes, their fears, their dreams. It
Yeah.
makes them feel more human, more relatable.
Exactly. And when you read these hymns, even in translation, you can almost feel that connection across thousands of years.
Is powerful.
You know, the questions they asked, the challenges they faced, the emotions they expressed, it's all so deeply human. And it reminds us that despite the vast differences in our cultures and lifestyles, we share a common thread of humanity with those who came before us.
That's a powerful thought. That the Rig Veda can connect us not just to an ancient civilization, but to a shared human experience that spans millennia. But I have to admit, some of the language and imagery can be pretty challenging. Is there a way for someone like me who isn't a scholar of ancient Sanskrit to approach this text without getting totally lost?
Oh, absolutely. You don't have to be a linguistic expert to appreciate the beauty and wisdom of the Rigveda. There are so many excellent translations and commentaries available that break down the complex language and symbolism, making it accessible to a wider audience.
So it's like having a guide,
Yeah.
helping us navigate this ancient world and unlock its hidden treasures.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that even just dipping into a few select hymns can be a really rewarding experience. You might be surprised at how much these ancient verses can speak to your own life, your own experiences, your own search for meaning.
It's like finding a piece of yourself reflected in something that's been around for thousands of years.
Right.
That's pretty amazing.
And that's the beauty of engaging with ancient texts like the Rig Veda.
Yeah.
They offer a fresh perspective, a different way of seeing the world, and they challenge us to think about our own beliefs and values in new ways.
This deep dive has been such an incredible journey. We started with what seemed like this daunting and distant text,
Yeah.
and now I feel like we've uncovered a whole world of wisdom and insight.
The Rig Veda really is a treasure trove of knowledge waiting to be explored. And I hope this deep dive has inspired you to delve even deeper, to discover your own connections to this timeless text.
I know I'm feeling inspired. And to our listeners who are feeling that same spark of curiosity, what advice would you give them for starting their own exploration of the Rigveda?
Don't be afraid to just jump in. There are so many resources available online and in libraries, translations, commentaries, even podcasts and videos. Start with what interests you most, whether it's the mythology, the cosmology, the philosophy, or the poetry. And remember, there's no right or wrong way to approach the Rigveda. Let yourself be guided by your own curiosity and see where it leads you.
That's great advice.
Mm.
And a huge thank you to you for being such a fantastic guide on this deep dive. You've made the Rigveda come alive in a way I never thought possible.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. The Rigveda is a text that I'm deeply passionate about, and I'm always excited to share its wonders with others.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this epic exploration of the Rigveda. We hope you've gained a new appreciation for this timeless text and the insights it offers into the human experience. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking knowledge.